Good afternoon, and welcome to the seventh episode of MedLife Mike Talk. We are your hosts, Alec and Alex, and we have our first episode of a victory episode. Took a
Wow.
little bit, took a little bit, but this is a milestone for our channel. Um, and I was there live, and it was an electric atmosphere from beginning to end. And the Giants stunned the Los Angeles Chargers 21 to 18. No longer 3-0, they're 3-1. Giants are 1 and 3, going heading to New Orleans on a team that can't really find a win right now. Can the Giants squeeze the 2 and 3 by this Sunday? We'll see, but man, what an exciting day. Dart's debut, Dart Life. It is great. It was exciting. And Alex, what do you think about Sunday
Dude,
victory?
I'm pumped. Hopefully, obviously, we love to see wins. Didn't think we'd get this win against the Chargers, but dude, man, the defense played hard. They were going after Justin Herbert. The amount of pressures they had, just just pure dominance on the
Yeah.
defensive side. But before we get into anything, though, we already had my perspective of like the home opener, like what the vibes were at the stadium. But I want to know, man, what were your what was the vibes over there when you were there? I wish I was there. I really wish I fucking would have went. But yeah, man, tell us like your side of the like the vibes. How did it feel? Was there different energy? Like I know you didn't go to the home opener, but I'm sure like, the vibes were so much higher than the home opener.
Yeah, no, I got there pretty early. I got there 8 o'clock, 8 a.m., bright and early, and was with hanging out with a bunch of Giants fans and a lot of unknown. We had no idea. We were excited to watch Star, but we didn't know what to expect. And preseason was preseason, but now it's regular season. So again, I was excited to see his introduction just to the crowd and to be there live. It was very important. Like I said, I was there for Eli Manning's last game, Daniel Jones's first game, and now Jackson Dart's first game, and hopefully our future of the organization, for 10 to 15 years. That's what we hope for as, Giants fans. Um, we get in the stadium again, seats were packed. A lot of Giants fans. Chargers fans really don't travel well, so that was a plus, having Dart start this game as well. Um, so Giants fans were packed in the stadium around 12:30. The stadium was already packed in. And then the intros happened. Jackson Dart was announced, the first guy to be announced on top of it, and crowd was electric. I was screaming, everybody was screaming, and then you start off the defense doing a three and out, and then Jackson Dart going down 80 yards, first drive, touchdown right in front of me. Electric, just absolutely electric. Like, I don't think you could have picture perfect to start like that for Jackson Dart and the Giants. And again, it was like the first time I've been to so many Giants games. Like I said, I was a season ticket holder for many years from 2015 to 2019, and then many games I went to after that. And I've been to every home game, home opener since this year, and many, many losses. This is the first Giants win I've been at since 2022, and it's been a long time. I paid my dues. I paid a lot of dues sitting through snowstorms, rainstorms, to blowouts, to anything you name it. I've been there, done that. So to sit there finally and pay, some of my money finally and to witness a win and witness touchdowns. It was yeah, like I put it, on social media. It was a day I'll remember forever. As corny as it would sound, it was just something I needed, and we need it as Giants fans in general, like because it's been so miserable the last year. Well, the last 13 years, but really the last year was really, really bad as Giants fans as we became like the laughing stock. So I'm hoping, this is a turn in the right direction for us. But of course, that was kind of a dark cloud laying over us with Malik going down in the game and tearing his ACL, unfortunately. So, obviously we're sending, speedy recovery for him and prayers in that time. And I also quickly want to get this in before we start talking about the game. I do want to send my thoughts and prayers to the Mara family in regards of the announcement of yesterday, him announcing that he has cancer. So,
Yeah.
as the channel, we're both sending our prayers and thoughts to you during this time, and we will, hopefully the Giants will continue to do well and make you proud as well. So, but Alex, back to more, like I said, starting from watching the TV aspect of it, what did you see from the darts part? Dart had 111 yards passing. He was 13 for 20, one passing touchdown, one rushing touchdown, and 54 yards rushing with 10 attempts rushing. So, what did you think of his performance overall?
I thought his performance for first time started rookie was pretty good. Now, can't really expect much more. First game as a rookie, getting his licks in. Um, but I thought he did pretty well, held himself. I thought he looked he looked pretty patient in the pocket a little bit. Obviously he's really good with his legs,
Yeah.
and we saw that when he rushed that in for his touchdown. Um, but overall, I think he did pretty well. What about you? What are your thoughts of Dart?
Yeah, no, I thought, it was a solid B plus performance for me.
Yeah,
And a B plus is a fair grade. People want to try to give him slack that are now Giants fans of like, oh, he's only passed for 11 yards. But he maneuvered that game and was going against a top three defense in the league. So people can try to downplay the game or downplay his overall play in general. But it was impressive. And the way I talked about it, even with you, in one of our first episodes before the season even started, what impressed me the most with Jackson Dart was his pocket movement and his comfortability in the pocket.
yeah,
And you saw that full string on Sunday, the way he was moving around, wasn't panicking, letting plays come. And one of the most impressive plays was that Slayton play when he moved up to the pocket and called Slayton to come back and threw
yep,
across his body and got the first down. So it's like those are things that are like that's workable. That's growth that this kid can grow off of. And yeah, there were some rookie mistakes, and we expect that. Like I wasn't
yeah,
gonna go in there and expect him to be, a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen in there. It's impossible. Yes, he held on the ball a couple times, a little longer than he should have, but he's going to learn from that. That's things that he can learn from and watch film and be like, okay, maybe I just should have thrown it out of balance there. And maybe he should slide a little bit more because he's going to get himself
yeah.
hurt if he doesn't start
Definitely.
sliding. I love the
I know he's
aggressiveness.
like very, he wants to get that extra yardage, but damn it, he needs to slide. But also, it's his first game. The more reps and more practice, more film he watches, he'll get a lot better and, fix those little mistakes he can work on. I'm sure he's going to be phenomenal. Way different than Russell Wilson, obviously. We
Yes,
saw that one play when Dart got taken out and he got mad. Russell Wilson comes in. What happens?
get
Sack.
that. Yeah,
And you can tell the difference to like how the offensive line is with Dart, and then when Russ comes in, it's
yes,
like a whole different shift. I don't know if how you personally saw it, but like me watching it at home on TV, like I can just there's so much of a difference of like that spark in the offense that that Dart brings, and then
yeah,
when Russ comes back in. As much as I love Russ Wilson, don't get me wrong, but my man my man's got to like get away from those sacks. Can't
yeah.
take those sacks, but
He's not mobile anymore as much
yeah,
as he was in his prime, and that's fine. I mean, age catches up to everybody, and that's okay. But now, we're on the future with Dart, and Dart again, very impressive with just the confidence this kid carries with himself, and then the swagger that he brings, or as what people say, the aura that this kid brings to the team. But like you have teammates in the locker room saying that this is how he's been since day one. but it is contagious. And that Jermaine Illuminor, one of the better offensive linemen on the Giants' offensive line, stated that, like, he's played with rookie quarterbacks before and he didn't know what to expect. Sometimes, they have to get the nerves out. And he said once he saw that Dart was confident and he believed in himself and he was like, let's do this, then he made himself, like, he made the offensive line confident. And like that goes off what you said, like you saw that. Andrew Thomas looked phenomenal. He looked prime Andrew Thomas out there. Didn't give
Mhm.
up a single pressure the entire game. And it was to the point where like I caught into the fourth quarter and I was like, oh wow, Andrew Thomas is still in because they said that he was still going to be on a pitch count, but on a higher load this time. And then there was the fourth quarter and I saw he was still in and I was like, wow, okay. I was like, I'll take that. And then you got another guy who's a tone changer and who is a maniac, Cam Scatterbo.
Yep.
He had 25 attempts, 79 rushing yards, but his rushing yards is like just running through a freak train every single time.
I love to eat. I don't know how you feel, but every time I see him rush or bulldoze someone, I'm just like CTE, CTE.
Yeah, he's crazy. He can't be playing like so much like that, but that's just how he's always been in college. But man, he brings the energy even in the stadium. You feel it. Not even just with Dart. You felt it in the stadium. You felt it with Scatterbo, and then you felt it with Neighbors. They have these dogs, on the field now, which is again like the vitality that they're trying to bring into the Giants locker room. And these guys are those tone setters. And then you draft a
Yeah.
guy like Abdul Carter. And Abdul Carter is really becoming on his own now. He may not have the sacks to show it, but he has the highest pressure rating out of
He
all
has those
the
pressure.
rookies, and it's not even close. And he's
He's
causing
getting
a
in your
lot of
face, and obviously, depending on people, people look for the stats and sacks and everything, but he's gonna be in everyone's face, and you see it. He's in his play; it shows,
yeah.
and especially when you have Kayvon, you got Abdul, and then you got Brian Burns. Man,
Brian
you
Burns is
unleash those
playing.
dogs,
Yeah.
it's hell.
Brian Burns is having an all-pro year. He's leading the NFL with sacks. It's just insane of the year that Brian Burns is having. Brian Burns is worth every single penny and more that the Giants have paid for him.
Yeah,
And Kayvon Thibodeau is definitely become a better player this year. You see it in his last couple games. Kayvon Thibodeau's really become his own. And it's kind of giving me like that Michael Strahan vibes. I'm not saying that he's Michael Strahan, but if Michael Strahan early in his career was not the player that he was and the Hall of Famer that he was, and he didn't really hit his spark until his third and fourth year. And that's when Michael Strahan started becoming the Michael Strahan that we all become to love with. That's kind of give me the vibe of that. Same with like an OC Umenyiora.
Justin
Um,
Tuck.
yeah. So it's like these players, like, yes, we got to be patient and give some of these times some patience in regards to developing. And you're starting to see with Kayvon and Kayvon adding these monsters around him doesn't just put this pressure on Kayvon just being the only guy. You have Brian Burns going on the left, and then you got Brian Burns going on the right. Then you have Kayvon in the middle. Then you have Dexter just straight in the middle. Then you have Brian Burns QB spying, stalking in the middle, landing next to Dexter. It's like, good luck. That's all I could say is good luck. And now they're starting to really feed on these QBs. So I'm very curious to see, this carry over to the next game. And then
I
when,
hope it carries over. Sorry to cut you off, but
no,
like
you're good.
I also want to give like a shout out to Shane Bowen for like having them those three out more
Yeah.
compared to like the first three games.
I
You
think he
know,
learned his lesson from the the clapback
difference.
from the fans.
Yeah, difference maker. So if
Yeah.
he was listening to the fans, good shout out to him.
Yeah.
And you can see
Um,
the difference. You can see the unleashed, like the dogs are getting unleashed in this
yeah.
defense, and it gets me hyped, man. Every fucking sack, every pressure that we get when we get right in the QB's face, I get hyped.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the good old Giants. That's what we're known for is our rushing game, aggressive rushing game, and then our defensive line. our defensive ends, all of them. Like they all played a role in our giant Super Bowl history era, basically. So now we're starting to see that kind of develop, and they have the guys on offense. So Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns combined 20 pressures on Justin Herbert, which was insane. And then Carter, like we were just discussing before, had 9 pressures, 5 QB hits, 4 hurries. And he almost had his full sack, but then got called, or it got canceled out because of the grounding. So unfortunately that was taken away, but he's getting there. He's getting there. He's causing a lot of havoc on that line, and the stunts that Shane Bowen was calling in the game, the Chargers offensive line had no answer to, and it was great to see. My light, it looks like it's about to go out over here. Um, and then we almost had a thick six. So that was going to be great. Um,
My
Dexter
man needed some air.
yeah, Dexter Lawrence, I was I saw it from the TV stand, or the TV point of view when I got home. The cameraman got fooled by the pick six or almost the pick six. And I was fooled in the crowd because I'm not even gonna lie, I was watching, and all of a sudden I was watching the cornerbacks at the time, and all of a sudden the crowd like just started going nuts, and then I just see Dexter running towards me. And I was like, what? So it caught me off guard because I didn't, it was so quick. It was like 1-2, and the TV got even fooled because that's where I was watching, was where Quentin Johnson was at. So I thought one of the cornerbacks intercepted it, and I was like, man, I didn't even see the ball. And then I was like,
Nah, big man
yeah.
got it.
So then he almost scored. And then, that was, unfortunately, we only walked away with 3 points there, which somehow, some way we only walked away with 3 points.
Back to
Uh,
the red zone struggles.
Yeah, no. I know you wanted to talk about that a little bit. The red zone struggle was we had some high moments, we had some low. I really do hope they balance it out and fix it a little bit. I understand wanting to be aggressive when you're at that red zone and like want to run the ball a lot. But you got to pass the ball a little bit. And that was before Neighbors was even out. It was like, can we just toss it up to him like for a fade? Just give Neighbors a chance to go up there to catch it. Why do we have to run the ball 3, 4 times in a row with Scatterbo? Like, I love him, but like, be more predictable, in regards of that, because they were stuck in the line at that point. Because they were like, all right, they're not going to pass, and then that's what they did. And it's unfortunate, but again, a win's a win. Never going to complain about it. It doesn't matter, the stuff that happened prior. They're going to look at the film, hopefully change a few things, prepare for the Saints, and get things going with that. But I wanted to know your opinion in regards, who was your standout player and could be offense or defense of this game.
Well, I'll probably give both offense and defense. So Brian Burns definitely stand out, but gotta give my flowers to Kayvon, Abdul, bringing those pressures. Offense, Cam Scatterboo. Dart also, did pretty well. Um, but now, what about you? Well, who were any standouts on your end?
Yeah, I mean, I want to go to the obvious and say like Dart, but a guy that impressed me that like I wanted more out of, and he did, was Theo Johnson, man. Theo Johnson impressed me. Um, Dart, finally being able to have a quarterback that throws in the middle of the field is good too. But he came in clutch, on that third down that we needed to basically clutch the win. And, he caught it, and then he got that touchdown and got into the end zone. Um, he's caught a couple passes in the middle in the game, which was impressive because in the beginning, the first game, he dropped what, 2 to 3 passes in the game, and people were calling for Bellinger. So it was nice to see Theo Johnson step up. A tight end is a rookie quarterback's best friend. So I hope, I know Dart and him spend a lot of time together, like outside of just, the football field. Because they're both this like similar age. They're young. I don't think they got girlfriends, so they're just bros hanging out all the time. So they're very close. So I really want to see that relationship on the field really grow. And then defense, yeah, I mean, I have to go Brian Burns, man. And Brian Burns is He's playing lights out right now and it's not just one game. He's been like this consistently from week one to now. And he's becoming a monster. I mean,
It's
he
only
had
going
me
to get
going
better.
nuts in the crowd. Him, the Spider Man, emoting out
Yeah.
there and going nuts. Like, I mean, he's a captain for a reason, and he holds that leadership to a high standard to the actual pass rushers of the legends of the Giants. And you could see that he actually cares about being a captain and really is being coming up his own before our eyes, and it's like fun to watch as a Giants fan because last year we were like, okay, like him and Kayvon's gonna be fun, and then they showed little like glimpses of it last year, but now we're like, now you throw Abdul in there, and it's like, again, like what we discussed early in the episode, it's like good luck. It's like you got, yeah, you could double team one, but then you're gonna leave one uncovered or one with one, and then you have Dexter in the middle, and he's usually double covered. So then you're leaving one on one with Kayvon and Brian, and then you got Abdul thrown in there now. So it's like the one thing I do want to hope, and this is like non-game related, like this game related, I hope with Kayvon because his contract year is up this year. I want them to pay Kayvon, of course. I mean, I don't want to maybe break the bank on it, but get good money out of it because if he continues to keep playing how he's playing, definitely keep him up, because you're already paying Brian Burns, you're already paying Dexter, and then you can just pay Kayvon, and then by the time their contracts are all up, you could pay Abdul. And that's another 4 or 5 years. So it's not like you're getting eaten up in regards of contracts on the defensive line. So I think they definitely, regardless, do not let Kayvon walk out of that building if he continues to have this year that he's having, because he's all these guys are making each other better, and you could see that. And they're feeding off each other, and they're feeding off each other's sacks and QB hits one another. So that's the one thing that I got out of that game really for sure is like we got to keep Kayvon in this building next year. Um,
Definitely.
so that's definitely one thing I'm definitely excited about. Unfortunately, like we talked about in the beginning episode, Neighbors is out.
Yep.
Big,
Season-ending injury, ACL.
yeah.
Um, so obviously it's a big blow to the offense. Um, who do you think will step up to be that number one receiver in Neighbors' place? Me personally, I would like to see obviously Slayton because he's been there. He's been there for a while. He's a veteran, but I would like to see Wandell to step up more because he's underdog. Like I said in previous episodes, underdog. I think he's a phenomenal receiver. Especially very good on third downs. But who do you think? Or who would you like to step up to be that top guy right now in Neighbors' place?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most obvious answer is Darius Slayton, but a guy, I would take your question to another level in regards of like what guy I wanted to just step up in general. And I feel like that's Jalen Hyatt, man. Like you're running on thin ice right now with this coaching staff and the roster spot, and now this is your time to and step up or you're gonna get stepped out because Bo Collins is going to come in here for you, and they already been putting Bo Collins in replacement of him during the games. So if Jalen Hyatt can't, catch a ball or not get blown up on the line, um, I think this is his only time that he needs to step up. And if he doesn't step up, like I said, he's gonna have to step out. So, and the replacement that I think replacement wise, do the Giants go out there and get a guy? Do you think the Giants go out there and get a guy? And if so, who?
Do they trade? Do they sign someone? I, it's questions, that's up in the air. Um, Me personally, if they were to sign someone, I don't know how you feel about this, but me, I would love to bring Odell back home for him to end
Yeah.
his career in New York. I know he's up there in age. He's not the player he used to be, but still hurts me that he left the way he left.
Yeah.
But if it were up to me, man, like I would definitely bring Odell and see, or at least have him for a tryout, see what he has left in the tank.
Yeah.
You know? And then if it all goes well, if passes physical, if he looks like he's still that, still has that passion for the game, and if he can be like, a little bit of a change for the game on offense at
Yeah,
least, bring a little bit of spark, man, sign him to like a 1 year deal, nothing crazy, and have him send him off, being a Giant.
yeah. No, I mean, I would love that. I felt that could be a possibility, but then he tweeted about the MetLife turf the day neighbors went down. So I was like, I don't know if he'll come here.
Well, who
But
knows?
there is a guy that I think that we could look into in regards of bringing in who knows the system already, and he's on a practice squad right now. Is Isaiah Hodgins. Um, I think he's a smart guy to call and just bring him in, and he knows the system, knows the plays already. Um, Get thrown there again because he was the old reliable in our playoff year in 2022.
Yeah,
A
it
lot of people
was.
forget about that, and people were praising him a lot more than he should have. Like calling him like a receiver one. I mean, he did what he needed to do. He balled out when he needed to ball out. Um, but I wouldn't overhype him as much as a lot of Giants fans did those years. But I would not be um, against them calling him to come back, from I think he's with the 49ers now, the 49ers practice squad, and just come in to the building, see what we could have, and then go from there. Because again, like I feel like the Giants coaching staff is not a fan of Jalen Hyatt, and I just don't feel like that relationship's at that point where I don't think it's ever going to get to the point where they're going to heal. So I feel like that relationship's like just done. But they're going to test it out probably this week or two. And if they don't really get anything out of Jalen Hyatt or even like Bo Collins, I think that's when you start getting a phone call. And especially if they win this week, um, who they go against is the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans at 1 o'clock. Um, we both predicted them to win this game. And this was, before our predictions in regards of, when we thought Jackson Dart would be in by now. I did say under 5 games. I think you said just over five.
Just over 5.
Yeah, so wasn't really that far off, both of us in general. But are you still confident? We're not going to change our answers in regards to that, but you still confident? Do you feel still good about the Giants going into New Orleans? It's a very tough environment, tough stadium, regardless of their record and their quarterback. I mean, they just played the Buffalo Bills pretty tough. So, you can't go in there lightly expecting, a win. But I do think they're going to win. Um, Even though Neighbors is no longer, playing for this year, I do think Dart and his legs would be able to carry this team and the electric environment of himself and Scatterboo on the offense alone. And then the defense has electric players um, on that side already. So I don't know how you still feel about this game going into it, but
Well, I never go into any game saying it's easy. Uh, it's a game that we should win, but I'm not changing my answer. I think we'll still win. Just as long as the defense plays like they did last week,
yeah.
keep the pressures up. Shane Bowen's got to use that same tactic he was using, use them more. Um, Jackson Dart. As long as depending, I don't know, is he questionable right now? Because he also has that hamstring.
Yeah, no, Dable said he's fine. I mean, he's going to push through as much as he can. I mean, they're playing it off, and I mean, he came out of the halftime, not limping or at all.
Yeah,
So, and then he ran for what, 70 yards, and that's when he was called back for the concussion. But he said he was exhausted. I mean, because it was like I was saying, it was so hot outside. It was ridiculous how hot it was. I got so burnt from being cooked in the sun all day. So I can imagine, and turf is so much more hotter than it is just us being in the stands. He said he was exhausted, so he didn't really get hit in the head. But then
yeah,
he
I
looked
believe.
down because he walked to the huddle slow because he was literally exhausted from the heat.
Yeah, hunched over a little bit, like he was trying
Yeah.
to catch his breath.
So it'll be a different environment this time, being in a
Yeah,
dome. So I'm curious to see how he performs in a dome. I mean, I know it really doesn't do much, but again, he performed outside already. I want to see him to go inside a dome.
that
Different
stadium does get
environments.
loud too. Those fans, the Saint fans, are known to be very, very loud, especially in that dome. So
Yeah.
I want to see how he composes himself with that. Like, if he's having trouble hearing the plays or, anything like that. But no, I still have confidence in the Giants start, obviously, defense. So as long as the defense plays like they've been playing lately, and then if you get some big plays on offense and keep the drives going, keep the momentum going, get first downs, don't do any silly plays and stuff like that. I think we should walk away with a win.
Yeah. No, I agree. And we'll have to find out in the next episode.
Yep.
Next episode, we will discuss, the results of the New Orleans Saints game and hopefully discuss another victory episode because this was fun. Because I was getting pretty upset coming on here and talking about losses. But now we have the possible future of our, the organization, which is an exciting time for the Giants. And the media has been pretty nice to us this week, so that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna, soak it in for a couple more days until Sunday comes. And but yeah, as always, guys, thank you guys for all for the subscriptions, to watching our channel, liking our videos.
Taking the time to hear us talk about this stuff.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We're just two best friends just talking about the New York Giants and how much this team takes over our life, in the good and the bad. So, as always, please please subscribe and comment. We are your boys. We will be back next week to discuss the results of the New Orleans Saints game. Peace
Peace.
out.